how some kids are just old, like, you've been here before, or was you raised by your grandmother? It's just the way that they carry themselves. They just have that Morgan Freeman energy. Welcome to La Vida Rosa. I'm your host Pinky, and today we're going to be talking about why is Gen Z aging faster than millennials? So if you'd like to see more, then just stay tuned, like, comment, and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get into this video. This has been a conversation on TikTok for a while. I've been seeing videos here and there discussing why is it that Gen Z is looking the same age or older than millennials. Why are millennials looking younger in comparison? And for reference, in case you didn't know, millennials were born between 1981 and 1996, my generation, and Gen Z was born between 1997 and 2012. And so there's been, like, honestly, this battle going back and forth between the generations, and I don't know if it's just been easily spectated on TikTok and other apps, or is it really like a battle back and forth? Are these real conversations that people are having in real life? I don't know, but I wanted to talk about it because there was a video that recently went viral by Jordan the Stallion on TikTok, and I watch his videos sometimes. Normally it's when he's trying out a new product or something like that. I like to hear his takes on certain topics, but this video went viral for a different reason. Everything in that video caught me off guard, especially his age, because like I said, I've been watching him for a little while now. I thought we were around the same age, early to mid 30s. When he says Zendaya is older than him, that made my jaw drop. And then on top of that, his mother passing as his younger sister. I Googled so hard. Yeah, if y'all know what his mom looks like, send it to me. I Googled that so hard. I was like, what does his mom look like? I want the secrets, okay? I want to know how you are aging in reverse, because to me, he doesn't look that old. A lot of people were reaching and saying I thought you were 50. Come on, he doesn't look 50. He definitely has a dad look. So I'm not surprised The Rock just assumed he had kids. You can have children at any age, and you can not have children at any age. So I do think it's weird that he just assumed it was for his child. But it was also funny because The Rock did respond, dude, I'm belly laughing, and I gave you the old Rock tap on the shoulder. Rock, you are 52. You knew that man was not in your age bracket. What? Now, this is my take in general when it comes to looking your age. There are some people in this world that just naturally look older. There are some babies out there that look like grandpas. You would think that was Benjamin, but they become voluptuous faster, or they're just really tall for their age, or they just really, husky, or maybe they grew facial hair early in life. There are different factors that play into you looking older. Some people look older once they gain weight. I know that's how it is for me. When I gain weight, I just automatically look older. When I lose weight, for whatever reason, I look younger. For other people, it's the opposite. Also, just think about how teenagers dress throughout the years. Teenagers in the 50s and 60s looked older because they didn't have quote unquote teenage clothes to wear. They had to dress like their mothers and fathers because that was the only clothes available at the time. When you dress older and when you wear your hair in a certain way, you're gonna look older. I just saw a video go viral recently where they were showing a classroom of high school kids in the 80s. They was going in on how old the kids looked in that video and clowning them. But I guarantee you, if you go back in time and take those same people from that classroom and give them a modern haircut and modern outfit of today, they would look younger than they did in that video. Maybe not every single person, because some of them people did look real old. Some people just look old, you know what I'm saying? But I do think the styling has a lot to do with it. Now back to Jordan. Somebody on Twitter said he looked like Elvin from The Cosby Show. And he does favor him not only in facial features, but with the way that he looks, dresses, and carries himself. I really do feel like if he were to trim his beard down, maybe got a goatee and got a taper fade or something like that, get one of the trendy haircuts that the young guys are wearing today, I feel like he would look more like his age, as well as his wardrobe once again, it's giving Elvin, it's giving, you know, early 90s swag. Like, nothing's wrong with it. I feel like, you know, I don't see anything wrong with the way that he dresses. I'm just saying, if he were to dress differently, then he probably would look more like his age. And then he has a lot of wisdom for someone of his age as well. You know how some kids are just old, like, you've been here before, or was you raised by your grandmother? Just like, it's just the way that they carry themselves. They just have that Morgan Freeman energy. You know how some people say that Morgan Freeman looks like he came out of the womb old, like there's no young pictures of Morgan Freeman. Like, he gives that same sort of energy, and I feel like that plays into him maybe seeming older. Like I said, if he were to taper his hair and, you know, wear some trendy clothes and use the slang of today, I feel like he would fall right in with the rest of the. So everybody that's saying that he looks over 40, y'all are dragging it. I know from personal experience, it is not every single person in Gen Z. I have a friend, she's Gen Z, and she looks like she's in middle school. She's a whole wife and mother, and people mistake her husband as her father and her child as her little sister. So there are people in Gen Z that do look young, but there's a reason why this video went viral, and I do feel like there is some truth to it. I was doing a little research on TikTok, and I came across a few videos of Gen Z girls being offended or taken aback by the fact that people thought that they were older.
UPS driver just dropped off my package, and I went out to sign for it, and he told me that I look good for my age, and he also said ma'am. He said, ma'am, you look good for your age. And I don't know what that is supposed to mean because I'm 23.
I was humbled so quick tonight. I was on live with my boyfriend and someone was like, how old's your girlfriend? And John jokingly responds 47. And the girl comments, oh, I thought she was early 30s. I am 23.
So I wanted to get into some theories as to what could be contributing to this. This goes along with the conversation I had about the Sephora kids, and if y'all haven't seen that video, I'll link it down below. But it's in that same vein of the kids of that generation grew up with social media, grew up with makeup tutorials, grew up with wig tutorials, and they kind of skipped the ugly phase. They were wearing makeup much earlier than we were in our age group. In that era, it was taboo to wear weave. Yeah, you had people wear, yeah, we wore braids. Yeah, we wore, you know, things like that, but it was just a little taboo to wear weave. You might have got made fun of for that. We really weren't wearing too much makeup, and really the fast girls, and I'm not saying they were fast, I'm not trying to put any blame on them, but I'm just telling y'all how it was back in the day. The fast girls were the ones wearing the makeup. That's why your parents told you you couldn't wear makeup, because you ain't no fast girl, so you ain't wearing no makeup, you ain't wearing no weave. And we for sure weren't wearing no wigs, because wigs were, once again, taboo. That was for old ladies. We didn't have the updated technology of wigs that these girls have of today. It definitely didn't look like scalp, okay? Definitely looked super wiggy. We didn't have no choice but to have our ugly phase and to, you know, wear ugly outfits and, you know, wear things that didn't fit, make mistakes until we got it right when it came to our hair and came to our style and things like that. And a lot of us didn't glow up until college, to be real. You zoom past the learning phase, the ugly phase and all that, and it's like you want to be grown so much. Well, now you're looking 10 years older than you actually are. That's why they tell you to slow down and enjoy childhood, because when you try to rush to grow up, I feel like it can manifest physically. For us, Claire's was the store we wanted to go to from the ages of 9 through 12. You know, them going to Claire's, you know, in that generation, it was cringy. They wanted to wear clothes that made them look older, and when you dress older, it makes you look older. And this is kind of besides the point, but I think it's so crazy that on TikTok, a lot of them are trying to tell millennials how to dress. Oh, skinny jeans are out of style. Your style is legit how we dressed in the early 2000s. Y2K, we been there, done that. Uggs are popular today. We wore Uggs back then. Crocs are popular today. We wore Crocs back then. I feel like every trend that y'all have today, we pretty much have already done it. Even the style I'm wearing now, That's back in style. We wore this back then. Look at That So Raven. Look at Lizzie McGuire. Look at all of the shows from back. They already wore it. Why would we want to dress like that again when we already did it? Anyway, that was a little mini rant. A lot of them are using retinol, which is supposed to be anti-aging, and you're in your 20s or younger, because a lot of these children like to use it now, but y'all are using this stuff too early. You're getting fillers, you're filling up your lip, and then you're looking like Kylie Jenner, 45, when you're really in your early 20s, and then wondering why when you answer the door for a package and the man yes ma'am's you, now you're confused. It's because all of the things that you're doing are for older women that are trying to look young, and I guess what you're trying to do is be preventative, but it's actually having the opposite effect. Some of these lips, some of these fillers is gonna have y'all looking like cat lady by the time you turn 30. Another theory is that generations before us, smoking was cool. At one point it was, you know, regular for somebody to just be smoking in a restaurant. And then once it got to our generation, we had programs like DARE that encouraged us to avoid drugs, to avoid nicotine and things like that. And we had constant programming, commercials. It was weaved into our television program. If you look at media from our childhood, we were constantly being told how bad smoking cigarettes was. And I'll never forget, there was commercials where people had to use the little "you don't always die from tobacco." Y'all remember that commercial? That commercial alone single-handedly told me I would never smoke a cigarette ever in my life. They really pounded that in our heads, and it worked, because I feel like a lot of us avoided cigarettes, and in fact we looked down upon cigarettes. It wasn't cool. We didn't like it. Anytime I saw somebody smoking, I turned my nose up. I was not into it. Now, I'm not saying people from our generation did not smoke, but I will say the consensus was it's a no-go. We all know how smoking cigarettes can age you and affect your health and things like that. And then the generation behind us, they got into vaping, and it's kind of like an epidemic with the teens now. They're really addicted to it, and it's the same thing. It's the same thing as smoking cigarettes. It's just rebranded into, I guess, a more attractive package, and the kids are constantly ingesting it, and I could see how that could take a toll on the way that you look physically. Also, we can't discount the stress that has been placed upon that generation. Even though we have our stresses, like, we're adulting hard right now, trust me, I feel it, okay? But they grew up with social media. They grew up being constantly fed negativity and having it right there in their phones. And I know with us, like, yeah, we had the news and we had the internet, but it just wasn't how it is today, and we just didn't have it readily available to look at constantly. And on social media today is totally different than what it was back in the day as well. It gives you a certain hyper awareness of what's going on in the world, which can be good. Knowledge is power, but I feel like in a way it's also stressful, because that develops fear and anger and depression. They tend to take out a lot on the internet. I see a lot of angry people, fake outrage, and jumping online and going in on a celebrity because they said one thing you don't like. On Twitter, they jump to drag people. It's like they're chomping at the bit to come after someone because they want to let out all that stress and anger and that they have inside and might be dealing with in their own life. And I feel like it manifests online in a very negative way. Very easy to put their business out there and then get mad when others have something to say about it. But I also understand when you grow up on the internet, that's kind of your relationship with the internet. And it's not like people from my generation don't do it, but I feel like Gen Z is just so much more willing to let it all hang out. But y'all, let me know what y'all think about this topic down below. I would love to hear your opinion. Do y'all think that Jordan looks his age? Do y'all think that Gen Z looks older than what they should? I would love to hear your opinion, and I'll see you in my next one. Peace.